Hello, everybody. It's Sylvia and Peter. We are back. And if it's the first time that you bumped into one of our videos, let me just tell you that we are therapists, both of us. After a long career, we chose to retrain and now use our commercial background as a basis for our therapist and coach activities that we do today. And mental health food for thought is about topics, issues that have something to do with mental health and well-being in the workplace or in life in general. And it is completely unscripted. So we have worked out what we want to talk about, and then as we go along, we figure out where we end up. And this is for you to shout at the screen or enjoy what we're saying and give us comments afterwards. So we talk about mental health and well-being, and we do not talk about politics. So today's topic is actually getting very close to the wind of that
Mm.
political debate that's going on at the moment, but without talking politics. So the topic really is ideology.
Oh,
Ideology is one of my worries at the moment. We live in a world that's really characterized by political ideology, religious ideology, and other ideologies about topics. And when we get into ideology, it means that there's only one opinion. One opinion counts. So either you're with us or you're against us. And it goes in politics, goes in religion, goes in the gender debate, all sorts of areas where there is one view that has the day, and you shouldn't dare come up with another one, which I find worrying as a as an individual, but I'm also coming across it from my clients who are now talking to me about how worried and anxious they are about living in this world where they don't feel that they belong because they don't hold that view and they're not allowed to express a different one. And this causes a lot of inner conflict and thinking, well, who am I then? What can I do? Why am I not allowed to have this opinion? Why am I being shut down in flames? And it's not just on social media, it's in cafes, it's out and about. And I just wonder if, Sylvia, if you come across any of that sort of hoo-ha in your job, your life.
no is the straightforward answer. The clients I've been seeing don't have that anxiety yet. They're bringing very specific things in their own individual lives. However, on a wider topic in general, I'm seeing more of this on LinkedIn. Um, there are more political posts, ideological posts, one could say. And then that's encouraging quite a lot of dialogue. And some of the dialogue that I see is, um, what's the word? Um, Perhaps not appropriate. And it's more sort of social media type postings, and I didn't think this was really what LinkedIn was about. Now there may be people screaming at the screen about that, about my view there, but I'm seeing more and more of these, um, this end and that end, and there's no in the middle. And while you're talking there, what popped up for me is the phrase, an opinion isn't fact. An opinion is an opinion. And my own personal opinion is, just because my opinion may differ to yours, Peter, doesn't mean to say you are right and I'm wrong, or vice versa. And that's what's worrying me. And as you say, this, if you don't agree with me, you are against me as an individual. As
Mhm.
an individual, you don't like me as Sylvie. And it's not, it's splitting out that my beliefs and my opinions and my values and my skill sets, whatever, are separate from me as an individual, as my identity. And this is what I do find worrying, that what's happening. um, but as I say, to your question, I'm not experiencing that with my clients yet. although when I was at the college a few years back, the younger generation, and the students there were 16 to 25, they were increasingly, even back then, getting very anxious about the world that we live in. And perhaps that's adding to the anxiety of the younger generation. But, you know, I'm going off a bit of a tangent there, but coming back to your opening comments there. Yeah, it's an interesting how, you know, if you hold an ideology, it's almost blinkered in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone else might have a different view. And if we'd only simply listen, we've spoken a lot, haven't we, before about listening, we might go potentially, actually, they've got a point, but it still doesn't fit with me. But having that rather than that and that, there's this grey area in the middle. And the other thing is the hostility that's creeping in. If you have a difference of opinion to me, how hostile people have become. To someone even challenging my thought process, not me particularly, but
And
go on.
and that is exactly I think hostility is the operating term here for my clients because so many things have become so polarized. It's an either or thinking. It's not a both and or a
Mm,
mix of everything. No, we can't have that. It's either or, and that makes things very hostile.
mm,
And some of my clients are feeling very unsafe because
mm,
they are living in a hostile world, a hostile environment, and they don't know what to do about it.
mm,
And then I can't fix the world.
mm.
So
Yeah.
if I could, it would look different, but then it might not look like somebody else would want it to look like. So,
Mm,
so again, it shouldn't
mm,
be my world, my way. But increasingly, I'm just coming across having to teach people to live with whatever life throws at them and the political environment we live in, and learn to hang on to their own beliefs, their own values,
mm,
regardless,
mm, mm,
and not think that because somebody is speaking with a very loud voice somewhere in the world that it directly affects them, that they should now think differently. Um, and I just try to think back when I was young. Did I believe almost religiously in something and completely ignored the other side of the argument? And I probably did. But I think it has grown an awful lot with financial pressure.
mm,
When the finances in an organization are going south, usually compassion goes out the window. People are being treated more harshly, they're being fired, they're being pushed to do more and more and more. But it seems to be the same thing in society in general, I find. Again, listening to the feedback I get from my clients and my neighbors and whatever, that there's less and less compassion. Everything has become more hostile. The whole immigration debate, for example, is also very hostile. Now there's little flags going up everywhere, English flags and the Union flag, to show British values, I think. But is it? Or are we back to good old psychology of small groups where we have the in groups and the out groups? And yeah, us inside the group, we're good and we don't like the others.
mm,
I think we're getting back to very basic stuff here that we like ourselves, but we hate everybody else
mm.
because we don't know them. Therefore, they're unsafe. I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this.
I
As I
think,
said at the top, we don't know where we end up with these conversations,
yeah,
but
exactly.
uh, but I'm just getting this vibe, and I just wonder if anyone can relate to that, and if it affects anybody in some way.
What's interesting there, as you said about with your clients and encouraging them to um, hold their own beliefs. And I forget the phraseology you used there, but three things popped up for me there is having that curiosity sometimes to find out
Mhm.
what it is the other side is thinking. Where
Yeah.
are they coming from? Is there a middle ground? Is there an acceptance that I can hold my opinion, you can hold yours? But that lovely old fashioned phrase, some may say, we can agree to disagree. And then the other thing was controlling the controllables, that wonderful phrase that people use. Control the things that we can, you and I and people watching this, We cannot control what's going on, but what we can control is how we, from the top of our head to the tips of our fingers to the tips of our toes, that's the only thing that we can control. How we respond to these things, how we choose to react to what's going on in the outside world, how we choose to respond to all this stuff that's going on. And allowing that, not allowing it to affect us. Now, that's very easy to say, but there are ways, as you and I know, to encourage people to develop that ability, and not get dragged into all this, what's going on, and alleviate the anxiety, or not have the anxiety, because we cannot control any of this. Yes, some may say, yes, we can control it, or we can take part in it, because we can go on demonstrations, we can do posts, we can respond to posts that we don't like, or someone has a difference of opinion. But that's us responding to it, controlling what we do in response to what's going on. And that's, as I talk here, we spoke about my teacher, Jeannie Saunders, many years ago. She also had another phrase for me. Sometimes things that happen to us, we have no control or choice over, but we do have choice and control how we manage and how we respond to them. And I think that's also something that I always bear in mind. If someone says something, do I respond, do I react, or I just go, I'll just get on with it? You know, yeah. My opinion is my opinion, yours is yours. We agree to disagree. We're not going to have fisticuffs over it. We're not going to get mean and nasty. We're not going to hate each other and you know, unfriend my friend for years just because she or he or they has got a difference of opinion. You know, that's me, you know.
What you just mentioned there is now wrapped up in a new theory. I think it's the same theory that's called something new. It's called the let them theory.
Oh, yeah. Mel Robbins' let them theory. Yeah.
And it's just, okay, fine, you believe this and I don't, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be allowed to think what you think and I shouldn't be allowed to think what I think. But one of the things that I am working with my clients on a lot is something you also touched on here, is the difference between reacting and responding.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of reaction out there, which is an immediate reaction to something, whereas I'm trying to teach my clients to just stop and think and then respond. So reaction is immediate, response is I've had a thought, I had to think first, and then I know what to say. And then we can start to control the narrative far better instead of just rushing with it or against it. Now we can have a more varied approach. And that may still not be what people want to hear, but at least we've done ourselves the favor of considering more than just one point of view. Point of view, have you got one on this? Do you want to express?
Interesting to hear what people's views are. Excuse me.
So we shall round this one off as usual in the middle of nowhere. We do not have the final answer to any of this.
No,
and we would
that's not the point of these conversations.
So thank you for staying with us, and we shall see you in a later video on another topic. Thank you. See you later.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.